This is Rebecca, the Steampunk Planner, and I have got a whole lot going on here. I wanted to start off at this angle to make it a little easier for you to see what is going to be off camera while I'm working. I have this beautiful vintage recipe box, which you saw I used a year ago. All of my Coffee Monster stickers were in here. Those have since moved to that desktop purse insert, which is working great. What I want to use this for now is doing all of my ink swatching. Yes, I know I just showed you that I'm going to be doing ink swatching in that beautiful green leather rings binder I purchased on Etsy. I've changed my mind. And as an artist, yeah, that happens a lot. So what I've done is I have all of the pages that I did my samples on. I have cards here. And these are cardstock 100 GSM. You'll understand why in a moment. I have this beautiful baby that Melissa made that actually has art paper in it. And I went ahead and decorated it up with some leftover vinyl from this year's Sterling ink. I have a nib holder for my Kakimori nib that I'll be showing you here in a moment. I also have Rhodia paper. I have Erin Condren white blank paper, and I believe those are 82 GSM. And then I also purchased some on AO, and I believe this may actually be very similar to onion paper, but I can be wrong. But what I am doing is I have actually gotten quite a few requests for comparisons, and I love to do studies and comparisons. I'm an artist. Of course, I love to do studies and comparisons. So what I'm doing is I have my glass nib, my Kakimori, which is getting its new handle, and then my comic pen, which has this beautiful Feud B1. I am going to do on these cards a large sampling, possibly a drawing. I'm also going to do comparison swatches and put that on here. That way we have comparisons, and then I'm also going to have this. And what I'm going to be doing in here is I'm going to be doing studies, art looks, different things, keeping my companies together. Whereas with the cards, I may keep them color coded, haven't decided. But what I want to do is to be able to take this with me to shows, and I'm excited to say that I am going to be going to the DC Super Show in August. So I want to have this with me, so when I'm looking for inks, I'm not buying inks I already have. I'm not buying inks that look so close to other inks, unless that's what I'm looking for. Like Inaho is no longer being made by Pilot. So that's a disappointment. Not to mention, there are some Ferris wheel press colors I didn't get a chance to get a hold of. They sold out long before I got and sold out quickly before I could get a hold of them. So I'm going to be doing some comparisons also. So I'm not going to be doing them all in one go. We're going to be looking at inks, maybe one every week this time. It's kind of like what I've done for the one-day ink swatching that I started in my Sterling Ink B6, but a little different. Let's get started and see how this will work. Before we get started, I wanted to talk to you about what I just ordered. This came from Gold Spot. I will make sure the link is below, and it's from the company Sepia. It's a writing accessories company. So you can find this on Gold Spot in their accessories tab. This is the instrument that I actually purchased, and it is a dip pen holder. So back here tells you all about it, And one of the great things is it's adjustable. I know. Can you believe it? That's one of the reasons what got me to buy it. Now, it did come with a nib of its own, but I'm going to be using this with my Kakimori nib. And that's the Kakimori nib pulled out. I have the brass one, not the silver one. And here is the nib this one comes with. And that is that you can use any dip pen nib that is 1.5 centimeters. So this should fit fine for the Kakimori nib. If it doesn't, that's fine. Then I will be putting my other nib in it. All right. To my disappointment, my Kakimori nib is much smaller than the opening here, but my other nib for swatching works perfectly. Let's go over and grab a card. Now, why am I using cardstock as one of the options? Well, sometimes pen and ink users, and sorry, I'm just fascinated with this color, will use their fountain pen inks, but they're not just using for a writing instrument. They could be using it for greeting cards, calligraphy, wedding cards. So I wanted to make sure that I'm giving as much of a range of possibility here. And then we're going to go ahead in with the Kakimori nib. Enjoy using this Kakimori nib. You're able to tilt, lean, or move the Kakimori nib around to accommodate, because not everybody's going to have every single ink. So I'm going to rinse that off. Let it take a moment so that it dries. And I'm going to use my glass nib. Now let's take a look real quick. This is another reason why I went with cardstock, so it doesn't bleed through. Because I may actually decide to move this over here, which I think I'm going to do, and then paint all along this side. I like that idea. Let me get things sorted on here, and I'll be right back. I wanted to show you this part before I go and attach them. This is the Tamo River. This is the Rhodia in cream. And this is the onion paper. So I'm going to get my swatching nib in, and we are going to swatch on each of these. Now I know the Rhodia does give you a different look only because it is in the cream, but you'll still see how it can change and look differently. So I'm going to let those dry. There is one other thing that I do want to share with you. Let me close the ink. What I wanted to share is something I love with ink is how it changes and separates either in water or even on a paper towel. So this is what is left over after blotting out my Kakimori nib. This ink flows out to a really, really beautiful aqua, green blue, more green, but also blue depending on the lighting. But do you see that pink in there? So that is just, and even here, these little spots are pink. Will at some point in time show you what it looks like when I dip one of my pens when I'm cleaning it into clean water. It's just if I did that today. So at this moment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch this into my leather notebook and let these dry and then attach them and continue on. All right. Thank you first off for hanging out just to see what this is going to look like. I really appreciate it. So here is Land of Shangri-La, and you can get a little bit of the shimmer, but see how different it shows up from the card to the onion paper, Tama River, Rhodia cream, and the Erin Condren. It's just so different on so many different things, which is why I want to do these samplings and have these large cards because it's going to be so much easier. So over here is the leather-bound book that Melissa made me that I started off with, but here's Land of Shangri-La on art paper. But as I stated earlier, thank you so much for staying with me throughout this. When I have these done, I will try to do a short video showing and telling. Thanks again.